What was the most horrifying experience you've ever endured in a video game? There was this game back in the day for GameCube called Eternal Darkness. Your character had sanity levels, and as this meter dropped, more and more effed up things would happen. A scream that you couldn't find the source of, blood dripping down the walls, an enemy attacks you out of nowhere and disappears as you realize it was a hallucination. The thing is, some of these things happened outside of normal gameplay. It would look like you were turning the volume down on your TV or changing the channel, or like a cable came unplugged. One of these was that it looked like you had navigated to the memory card. Remember those? And then clicked to format the card. That moment of panic. The complete horror as I thought every save and every game I'd played was being erased. That is by far the most horrifying thing I've ever experienced in a video game. Playing the first Sims game when I was like 9 years old with some friends. I covered a room in rugs because it looked neat. Turned on a fire because it was cozy. Immediately, the whole room was set ablaze like the rugs were soaked in oil. No gradual fire catching like in The Sims 2 or onwards. The parents of the family were trapped and died. The kids on the upper floor couldn't leave the building because the fire was on the way. We couldn't change to building or shopping or click any commands, not even speed up because it was banned during fires. My friends and I were horrified and had to watch them die for like 5 minutes straight, until the fire completely died out. My first Sims game was Sims 2. The very first night the Sim moved into the new house, he decided to eat barbecue for dinner, proceeded to light himself on fire, and died because I didn't know about fire alarms. Had 198 out of 200 Pokemon on Sapphire. My little sister wiped the save so she could play a few hours on a girl character, then got bored of it. Yes, it must have felt really good being an only child after that. The first time I killed a Peep in Coaster Tycoon by drowning him in a lake by accident after deleting part of a pier. I was traumatized and put the game down for a while. I came back later and decided to be more careful. I ended up creating a roller coaster in the desert level that flew off its rails and exploded, killing all of its passengers. Needless to say, I went crazy and built a death park in the aftermath. You know what? I'm not sure that anyone who owns Roller Coaster Tycoon hasn't at some point built rides specifically to see how many people they can send flying to their deaths, how many people they can fit on a catwalk above the water before deleting said catwalk, and whether they can direct roller coaster crashes onto major thoroughfares to see whether the explosions will kill pedestrians. It wasn't just me, right? In Resident Evil 4, I was just shooting the water at the end of the pier because I thought I'd get the fish. When that big fish came up and ate me, I almost crapped myself. The other moment like that for me is the chainsaw guy cutting off your head for the first time. My first death in the game was from that. It made me drop the controller and I was shocked that it had just happened. Same game. I crapped a brick later when that dude bursts out of an oven and he's on fire and he's just gunning straight for you. Animal Crossing for the GameCube. There was a thing that let you visit a friend's town by sticking their memory card in the other slot. When you visited, it was really aggressive about warning you not to turn off the game while in the other town. Yep, that happened. It was an accident. My character when I got the game to boot up again was a changed little villager. Where once was a happy face were 2 black pits for eyes and a mouth in perpetual scream. And all of my money was gone. Turned the game off and cried in fear. Nintendo apparently did this on purpose to try and punish people who were save scumming, but all it did was scare the crap out of little old me. The climax to Dying Light, where you have to run away from all the nightcrawlers, volatiles. Oh my god, my heart was pounding so much. Oh man, being outside at night for the first time in that game was the worst. That game was amazing! The mission where you have to set the bombs in that building was the scariest for me. It was the first time I'd ever played with high-quality headphones. The sound in that game was really well done. Found myself hiding in corners to gather courage. Oh, and when that ghost kid thing screams at you, forget about it. Eternal Darkness on the GameCube. I'm 17 playing this while home alone on a stormy night. My sanity meter is ratcheting up. My pet cat has a habit of playing with the cables behind the TV. Enter a new room and the video drops from the screen, goes black and says, Vid 1 in green at the top. Oh my god, frick you, cat! I went to look behind the TV to fix things. Lightning. Look behind TV, cables still plugged in. Thunder. blood-curdling scream from TV. I jump, hit my head, and I need a new pair of pants. Why? Why make me think there are problems with my hardware? Oh, to make me drop my guard and absolutely terrify me in ways I never expected to be scared. Metal Gear Solid 2 when Raiden is running around undressed and the game starts glitching. There was a part where it says not to close the TV and you should get some rest or something along those lines. It was 3 AM and I was sitting in front of the TV. I just cut the game off. I remember the part where the colonel says something like, "You've been playing the game for a long time, you should really take a break." I thought it was going to be truly necessary to save and reboot the game, since Hideo Kojima is insane. So I did. When you're a kid, you're so immersed into the game. When the game breaks the fourth wall, it really F's with your mind. I shut the game off when he told me to. Playing Resident Evil in the dark and seeing that damn dog break through the window. I can remember everything about that moment. The Crimson Heads were great. You're banging along doing your Resident Evil thing, crossing through that long mirror hallway like you've done 15 times before then, and then the zombie corpse that's been lying there the whole time gets up and frickin' sprints at you. Now you think, oh god, I've been killing zombies this whole time. The mansion's full of them. I know I'm not the only one who spazzed out a little there. At university, I would invite my friend around to play Outlast about one night a week until it got completed. For the duration of the game, I endured all jump scares stoically, solid as a rock, except one moment where my character was outside and a fricking leaf flew across the screen. Fell off my chair in fright. Since then, if it's ever windy on an autumn day, I can guarantee some smart aleck comment from my friend. Batman Arkham Asylum, the Scarecrow introduction. I thought my brother would kill me for breaking his beloved toy. Are we talking about the moment when the game glitches and makes you believe it's started over, and you've lost all your progress up until that point, which was basically about half to two-thirds of the way through the game? If so, then yes, the developers really knew how to put the fear into the hearts of gamers for a second. I played it on PC and was literally fumbling around to find the reset button on the front panel under my desk when the video started. I was sitting there somewhat dumbfounded as to how a PC game could reboot like a console, when I finally figured out what was happening. Freaking brilliant, and I totally fell for it. Yes, the narrator remembers sitting on his brand new custom-built gaming PC doing a Wii gaming marathon on the brand new Batman game and thinking that his rig had suffered a catastrophic shutdown. Yes, the biggest thing the Scarecrow could scare a gamer with was the idea that their machine was dying. My sister unplugged my Battlefront 2 save file when I was saving to the card and it got corrupted. She wanted to watch TV. I had hundreds of hours of stats on that account. I'm still not over it. It's treason, then. Max Payne, where he has the hallucination with the baby crying and his wife screaming, still gives me nightmares. I had to mute that part until I passed it so my parents wouldn't come out and be like, "What the frick are you playing?" My first shiny Pokemon was a Graveler. It used Explode. I've heard a story from someone who had observed the unluckiest person in existence. They encountered 2 shinies in a row, both Graveler. Both self-destructed, they are also the reason I will always have a good supply of Quick Balls. When you're playing Medieval 2 Total War and the Mongols or Timurids show up for the first time. Crusader Kings as well. A good late-game horde in that game can frick up people in the safest of areas. First playthrough, no idea what was going to happen. I chose Georgia. I was having a great time and really felt like I was getting the hang of the game. The first time I encountered a witch in Left 4 Dead. Frick that crap, man. I've never been more terrified in my life. The mannequins in Condemned. I've been saying for years that Condemned is the scariest game I've ever played. I think it's because it's not monster horror, it's real tension, and actual people scaring the crap out of you, hearing screams and heavy breathing in a dark room from some cracked-out tweaker, and then seeing a chair fly past you from a room you know you have to go in. That crap is scary because it could be real. Then amplify it by the fact that you almost never have a gun, just melee weapons that you pick up. I love the game, but could only play through it once. The first moments when you step out of the bathysphere in Rapture, after a splicer has cut some of the metal, and the only thing you're holding is a damn wrench. Terrifying. You can submit your own stories to be featured here on the channel. The story submission link is in the description below, and if you want to listen to some vibey music in the background, check out easymode, also linked below, and subscribe. Alien Isolation, Medical Bay. When a person sends you to look for something in an area where the alien is actively searching for you, you can't just hide and wait for it to go away. It won't go away. It waits. For you. It took me a month to beat that part. And then the hive level. It took me more than a year to beat Alien Isolation. 10 out of 10, recommend. Because the alien learns. It found out I liked to hide in those computer cards, and it always searched them when it entered the room. Though my scariest moment is when I found out it can chase you in the vents. It was after me, so I ducked into one and made a 90-degree turn. I thought I was safe until I heard a fast bang, bang, bang. And as I turned around, it was just barreling down the vents at me on all fours. I nearly passed myself. I bought that game and I couldn't get into it at first because the plot is so slow in the beginning. But eventually I got determined and made my way through the slow first act to get to the xenomorph, and I was glad that I did. One of the best games I've ever played and one of the most rewarding experiences in gaming I've ever had. Now I actually kind of appreciate the slow first act because it's trying to get you on edge, the same way the movie did. It's a slow burn, which is something we aren't used to in games. We want instant gratification, and that's not what the original movie was about. Outlast Whistleblower. When the last villain almost succeeds in cutting off your private parts with a circular saw so that he can commit the unspeakable act against you in the wound afterwards. I'm not kidding. Holy crap, that happens? What are you sick people doing playing these sorts of games? I'm used to descriptions of awful real-life events that we can't properly describe in these videos, but I was not aware that people were subjecting themselves to first-person simulations of this kind of thing. As another commenter aptly writes, "Excellent. I now know what game series I never ever want to play." First time playing the site recon mission on XCOM. I sent my A squad. Mistake number 1. I took note that chrysalids came from the sharks, but didn't realize they came from every dead shark on the level. Mistake number 2. I figured I had to turn on the beacon, and after I made it back to the ship, the airstrike would happen. Mistake number 3. So imagine my surprise when the timer for the airstrike pops up after I turned on the beacon. I panicked, and with chrysalids coming from behind us and popping out of dead sharks ahead of us, it was a slaughter. Everyone died, including Big Mama Simbra Legitho, a heavy from Zimbabwe that had a 94 in aim and had well over 100 kills. The worst is when Shepard says that even though everyone died, the mission was a success. Go F yourself. I still won't play that mission just because of the hatred and PTSD I have from playing it. Frick chrysalids and frick that mission. Probably the entirety of Dead Space 1. Just saying, that crap effed me up. Seriously, man, I purposefully played it with the lights off. My younger days weren't the brightest. Going down that ladder in the first Fear game. Not the scariest moment in gaming, but it was my first horror game. My now ex-friend deleted my Pokemon save and restarted with Bulbasaur. I only needed Growlithe and Arcanine to finish the Pokedex. I was 8 when I got Ocarina of Time. Those fricking zombies you have to get past to get to the Sun Song and leave the Temple of Time as adult Link have scarred me to this game. How about dead hands in the bottom of the well and in the Shadow Temple? Any difficult section in a game with unskippable cutscenes before it. The Seymour battle in the mountains, Final Fantasy X, was this for me. Fricking Unalesca. How about frick any Japanese game for this exact reason? Playing games with my son, who's 8, and we're playing Rocket League. I always try to give him a chance to win, until a couple of weeks back. He's up 2-1, and I haven't been easy on him. And as time dwindles away, I'm busting my butt, doing my best to tie the score. I always keep it close, but sometimes I let him win. Sometimes I win. The kid's got to learn how to take a loss, you know? Except, I can't score. The little guy's saving shots, keeping the ball away from me, I'm missing hits, everything. He wins 2-1. He's all smiles, does a great job treating the win like a loss, meaning not running his mouth or anything. On the outside, I'm smiling, having a good time, but on the inside is a mixture of frustration, proudness, and general what the frick-icity because this is it, the beginning of the end. I'm not sure if this counts, but many years ago, geez, I'm old, I was at the top of the case ladder for Duke Nukem 3D. I log on one day to find I was number 2. I'd only been number 1 for 3 days and I had not gotten any challenges, so I should have still been number 1. When I contacted the ladder admin, he said I'd ignored a challenge, since the rules state you can ignore a challenge only once, and you must play at least 1 match per week. I hadn't broken any rules, but it didn't matter to him. So I challenged the number 1 guy, beat him, and then he accused me of cheating and the admin sided with him. Turns out the admin was the number 1 guy. The water part in AmITheA Dark Descent. The first time my friend and I tried to play this part, we were taking shots because liquid courage. Unfortunately, the more we drank, the scarier it got. Vault 11 in Fallout New Vegas. The one with the sacrificial chamber under the Overseer's office. Probably my favorite side quest storyline of any game ever, and I don't think there's anything even linking to it. I just stumbled upon it randomly. The vault in Fallout 3 where it's just full of dudes that say, "Gary," scared the crap out of me back in the day. Not sure why, it was just uncomfortable. The first thing that sprung to my mind is the hotel basement in The Last of Us. Up until that point in the game, you've never not had a partner or two, and then suddenly you're alone in a pitch-black pit full of monsters. But that aside, the real answer is the entirety of PT. It's a horror classic, and it's an absolute travesty that it's no longer available for download. Playing the original Diablo, and no lie, I was about to kill Diablo when a loud thunderclap occurred and shut off my power and PC. Shout out to the Butcher in Diablo 1. When you open the door full of dismembered bodies and entrails everywhere, and that big mother fricker yells, "Fresh meat," and runs at you. I was like 5 or 6 when I played that, and I'll still always remember it. Haha, first time I opened the door and heard, "Fresh meat," I left immediately and was like, hell nah. The big red monstrosity is responsible for too many hours of fear and frustration in my childhood. Recently, the narrator went back and faced his fears and struck the beast down at last. He then downloaded the Beelzebub mod and went straight back to being fearful and frustrated about him. That part in Dead Space 2 with the laser in the eyeball. Cringy crap right there. Honestly, anything eye-related makes me freak out. It's as if my eyeballs don't want to see their kin being slaughtered in any way. I just squinted my eyes really hard after reading this. When I was in middle school, I got Myst for my DS. It's totally silent except for possible machines you turned on or clues. In one building there were these books. You open them and there are screens inside with fuzzy moving images of people talking in creepy, old radio-like voices. Nope. I didn't endure it, but my little brother told me about the time when a friend of his was looking over his save files for his PlayStation. He looked at an over 300-hour, almost maxed-out save file of Final Fantasy IV and hit a button. "Do you want to delete the save file?" My little brother tensed up and said very carefully, "Whatever you do, do not select yes." The friend said, "What, yes?" and hits random buttons, and the save file is gone. I cringe and shudder just thinking about it. We don't go to Ravenholm. You know, it's weird. Horror games don't bother me, but Ravenholm? There's something about that level that just sets my teeth on edge. I think it's because the game, Half-Life 2, is grim bright, but that section is both grim and dark. When I was 11, Halo Combat Evolved came out. I don't play horror games and didn't expect anything like the Flood was going to pop up. It creeped me out a bit, and how closed in the library level was a bit scary to 11-year-old me. My little brother saving over my almost complete game file in GoldenEye. This was what also taught me to keep multiple save files just in case. In The Sims 3, my sim was staying at someone's house for too late, around 2 AM if I recall correctly, so the game tried to make a nearby sim shoo my sim away so he'll leave. There were adult sims on the lot, but for some reason the game bugged out and a baby tried doing the shoo animation, which made it just look like the fricking alien from Alien Isolation. Pretty much all of Bioshock. When you walk into that dentist's office and it gets all foggy, and then he's right behind you just staring at you when you turn around. That or the shotgun on the floor in the pool of light. You know it's a trap, but gosh darn it, you need that shotgun. Or those freaking ballerina statue things placed everywhere, and you find an upgrade machine in a small, dimly lit, flooded room, and when you finish upgrading, you turn around and there is a statue there that wasn't before. I immediately ran up and started beating the statue with my wrench. It didn't die, but it bled everywhere. That let me know those things were alive. Sonic 2006. Just the entire game, really. I played Half-Life 2 for the first time and I didn't know anything about it. Then Dr. Kleiner's head crab jumped right at my face and I'd never been so frightened over a video game. It was Lemmings, or possibly Lemmings 2. Anyway, I was out 1 pixel in my digger's position and the whole troop fell from one platform into a burning pit of oil on the platform below them. It was all over before I could hit the explode all option. I felt so ashamed. When I was playing Left 4 Dead split screen with a friend and we encountered what we dubbed the hardcore insane tank. So the tank is an incredibly buff, gorilla-like zombie that tries to steamroll you. But this tank was different. He swung us around, then he ran away. Then he came from a different direction to punch our teammates. He kept doing this. He kept hiding and ambushing us, and no matter what we did, he just wouldn't die. Keep in mind that this was offline and not at all how a tank is supposed to act. So we just decided to bail and hide in the safe room, the starting point on the map. It has an unbreakable iron door. We closed the door and he just busted right through it like the Kool-Aid Man. I didn't even know this was possible, so you can imagine our reaction. I'm pretty sure it was a bugged tank, but my god, the tension was real. Never encountered anything like it again. Accidentally killing my horse in Skyrim. Kept my horse's meat in the chest in my first house and never bought another horse again. Then I ported to Whiterun and my horse was in the stable. So confused but relieved my horse was alive. Brought it with me to Kinsgrove and it got roasted by the dragon there. I hate my life. Rest in peace, Clip-Clop Doggo. I had a Final Fantasy VII save where I was planning to get all the characters to level 99, including her. I had about 20 hours into it, my friend came over and we played the game, and I took the controller from them when saving so she wouldn't save over my game. Then I saved over my game. Alien Isolation. I'm so near to the end, as far as I know, but it started giving me the fear, and I honestly can't play more than 15 minutes at a time before I wig out and quit. I've been playing horror games since the year dot, but this is the first one I just can't deal with. Crap, I couldn't even get as far as encountering the alien before quitting the game. Creative Assembly hit me right in the spot with my fears to make it too spooky for me. I can't think of any other game that's done that. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. Put the playlist on in the background to finish listening to all the stories, or if you want some vibey music to put on in the background, check out easymode. If you like Am I the Genius, give Am I the Jerk a shot. Everything linked in the description.